Easy to me guns, just a quick little update then. We've joined Barry Fitzgerald, as we told you earlier, and it's been a pretty full, pretty intense day, to be honest. Some incredible information. Not exactly what I was expecting, but Don Phillips doing his business yet again. It was quite something to see. We began the day, Barry took us to the top of our first mountain, the first of three. Beautiful sights, just to give us a kind of an insight into what it was like, I guess, the local area. What we to expect, you know, I guess a sense of the landscape, a sense of some of the history that was there. He then took us off and we went to our first location, which was Kesh Caves.
It's fantastic scenic places here in Ireland. We're actually tonight, or say tonight now, but the caves of Kesh. I've had no information about these caves whatsoever. Apparently they have been known for all sorts of kinds of rituals. I'm really intrigued because when we pulled up in the car, I can feel the energy already, just literally on this road, and we are quite a long way from them. We've got to hike up there, as you'll see in a moment. Apparently as well, Barry's got something most intriguing planned for tonight that he's really looking forward to.
Again, stunning location, about 7 or 8 caves all in a line, alongside one sort of, I guess, massive hill / mountain number 2. Took us about 15 minutes to walk up to it. Not exactly what I was expecting, and probably I don't think exactly what Don was expecting either. We made our way into the caves. Beautiful area, it really was. Somehow, as a new member, as somebody who's been invited along to the Phenomena Project, I got nominated to go along with Don through a 20-foot crawl space. And when I say crawl space, I mean crawl space. You'll see it yourselves from the video, but there's no room to move. At one point, you know, you're practically sandwiched between like 2,000 tons of rock. You know, simple. We go into the back, we make a couple of recordings, nothing really comes through, we don't really get an awful lot, but there's loads of animal bones in there. And bearing in mind, this place is deep into the ground. Really not easy to find. So yeah, it looks like it was some sort of pantry, I guess. Different size animal bones right the way through, from small birds to seemingly quite big animals, even a shin bone I picked up at one point. Now it turns out that actually there was a bear, the archaeologists say, was found in there, as well as wolves and other animals as well. There's scratch marks all down the wall, so that was pretty impressive. I think me and Don, certainly I was expecting for it to be more paranormal, let's say. I think in hindsight, looking back, Barry had said that he'd had a couple of experiences. I mean, Don did have a bit of an experience, got a surge of energy in the sort of chamber next to the chamber that we actually went into. So I think we were expecting a little bit more, but Barry himself said that when he'd gone down there, his dog didn't follow him. He hadn't got into that. So maybe we were just finding out a bit more information for Barry, maybe on what could have been there. Turns out not an awful lot. So we make our way from there to the second mountain. Stunning location again, you know, all uphill. As we're driving up to it, now Barry's been completely tight-lipped, not told us anything about any of the locations where we're going. He'll say vague things like it's 15 minutes away, won't tell you what you're doing there, won't tell you what to prepare for. I mean, obviously I went dressed pretty much like this today to go caving. Not what I was expecting. So we turn up to this second location anyway, and it's a stunning location. As we're driving up to it, Don instantly gets hit by some sort of energy, says, pull the car over. Steve, you know, reverse the car. So Steve Mera reverses the car back. Don gets out of the car and starts standing around. I'm thinking, is he just going to the toilet? Is that what's going on here? I can't work it out. Well, apparently not. Barry leans into me and said, I didn't expect him to get it this quickly, you know. Normally he gets it further up as we go through the gates. We get out of the vehicle anyway, we go and have a chat with Don, and what it turns out is that Don's picking up a huge amount of energy that goes on for a considerable distance. I mean, he said himself, you know, it's not the kind of energy he normally picks up, which kind of starts in one place, finishes another. He can map them, you know. He said, this energy, I'm in it, and it just continues all the way through.
Just driving down this road. This is the next location with Barry. I'm not sure what it's all about. There's a real strength of energy here, and this is people. This is either going to be a burial ground of some kind or a village. There's definitely something. It's all over me at the minute. Barry, where are you, mate? Is this significant?
This is strange, and it's very, very weird. But as he stands back up, he went, "Is there a village here?" He said, "I've got loads of people, but it's a people place, and there are loads of people." So it's one of two things. It's either a village or a cemetery. Barry confirms it is actually a village.
Because I'm going to make no bones about it, pardon the pun. Do you know when I said the last location it wasn't a people thing?
Yeah.
This is a people thing.
Right.
And it's really strong people thing. So, based on that, to me, there's got to be one or two things going on here. Either there's a burial ground under there, or there's a village, or something.
You're right up at the village.
It's a village.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so strong.
Yes.
So strong. But as I was driving by, and it was just, well, it's parallel with that. It was really strong. That's why I said, Steve, just reverse back up, because you know,
yeah,
I wanted to take a walk down there, but obviously I can't.
Yeah, no, that would be dangerous. Bogland, you'll sink and you'll disappear.
I'll disappear.
And we'll find you 5,000 years later as a bogman.
Okay.
With your camera.
We then get into the car, we drive further up. Barry again turns around to Don and says, "Donna, when you get out of the car, just so we're going through the gate." So Don gets out of the car as they go through the gate, as we walk sort of a little bit further up as we come through. Don suspects that this is a massive graveyard. We literally make it another 50 feet further up the road, park the car, turn around, and what's on the sign? But it's a Neolithic graveyard.
Right, I've got energy again. All behind me. This is behind me. Big style. Something. It's like how would you describe it? Standing here now, I can feel energy, right? Phil, you're not walking through it, you're walking in it.
Yeah.
It's that strong. And it's constant all around, isn't it?
Yeah. Very much so.
Now my face is going numb. He's having the time of his life, this guy.
He knows what's coming.
Yeah. It's just really strong energy everywhere, Steve.
In the direction of
I'm just walking this straight, not to it or past it, I'm walking in it.
How'd you feel, Don?
I'm buzzing, mate, to be honest, at the minute.
We're not even there.
I don't know.
we're not there yet.
We're not climbing any mountains yet and stuff, but if you think of the energy from that, past that track before we got to the gate, okay, and then through the gate, that's a long way of energy. Generally, energy, you don't get that expansive energy in one place.
Well, you haven't even tried to map it.
No, but you will have pockets. Well, no, do you know what? I wouldn't be able to map that.
That's what I mean. It's just too big to map.
Why? Because it's a big area of energy. Yeah. You can't. You know, sometimes I map a shape out and we'll find a nice building there. Just seems everywhere. And plus, I don't want to walk and disappear into a swamp.
Stamp.
You know, so yeah, it's getting interesting, certainly.
2 for 2, 3 for 3 really, if you want to count the first one as well. But that was impressive, you know. I mean, the odds against somebody doing that purely by chance are insane. And this is just 3, you know. I mean, how do you walk up to somewhere and say, "This use"? And it was a peat bog, right? There's nothing there. There's literally nothing there. It's just like the same kind of rolling green scenery that we've seen so often as we've travelled through Ireland. Stunning. But, you know, does it necessarily leap out at you as being an old village, a cemetery? I wouldn't say it does. There's no visible kind of signs, I guess, of it being a cemetery or a village or anything. So 2 for 2 that. Don's nailed it already. As Barry said to me, you know, I didn't expect him to pick it up until we went through the gate. The fact that Don actually, you know, without anybody kind of tipping him off, to all intents and purposes, we hadn't even arrived at the location. Don's like, "Stop the car, reverse back up, something's going on." And he nailed it. Incredible. So we make our way from there and we go up this kind of massive, kind of huge mountain, walking for about half an hour, past all these stunning cairns. I mean, when you see some of them, see some of the construction from Neolithic people, some like, what, up to 6,000 years ago, you know, right the way through until about 2,500 BC maybe. I mean, I beggars belief, you know, it really does, to see these places that are on top of mountains, and there are literally hundreds of them. It reminds me very much of Salisbury, I guess, or the area around Stonehenge. The entire landscape is like one giant kind of Neolithic patchwork quilt of just incredibleness. It's quite amazing. So, you know, dotted all the way across the top of this mountain are all these different cairns. You know, there's one here, there's one there, there's one here. We walk past, you know, Don's not really picking up too much. And he's thinking, you know, where's he taking us? You know, is this what we're supposed to be going to? Is this what we're supposed to be going to? Well, no. It turns out that Barry Fitzgerald had other plans, and that plan was to take us into the bowels of the earth. And when I say the bowels of the earth, I mean the bowels of the earth. Because we come up this, onto the top, I guess, of the mountain, and there is this massive depression in the ground. You know, it looks like a giant hole, giant sinkhole maybe. And instantly I kind of look at Don, I'm like, what's this over here? You know, what's going on? Don instantly picks it up and he's sort of looking at it, he's thinking, yeah, this is where we're going. And Barry's standing at the top waiting for us. As we come around the corner, he's got this little smirk on his face. We're thinking, what's going on? Then you look down, like about 80 feet down or something, just jagged rocks, you know, precarious death all around you. But you know, we attacked them with the same usual abandon we attack most of these challenges with. Come on, guys, let's go, and off we go. You know, so we're climbing down into this place, and there's this tiny little opening, and it's very much like you'd expect a horror film to be, I suppose, like The Descent, something like this. We go through this small hole in the ground, and you think, well, maybe we're there. No, there's another, 30 foot of rock, even more treacherous than the rock that's actually in the daylight. This stuff is underground and it's pitch black, and near enough about sort of, I guess, practically vertical. It really is. It's insane. You know, it's nearly 90 degrees. It's just bizarre. So yeah, we climbed down to this little place. It's stunning. When you go inside, it's clearly seems to be some sort of huge cave. I guess it looked very much like a church. You know, the kind of space is big open space, but all the rock has slid down into it, which is what we've just climbed down to get into this location. And we're starting there, and Don instantly picks up some sort of energy. You know, he runs off doing his thing, starts to make some recordings. Barry again had some specific information that he wanted us to bring through on this one. He wanted to see if Don was able to pick up information that he picked up previously, let's say, that Barry had picked up previously. So of course, here we are. You know, Don kind of walks over to this corner, says, I've got to go down here, I've got to go into this corner. Straight away, you know, just picking up some sort of psychic energy, I guess. And off he goes down to the corner of the room, or into the corner of this chamber. He comes back a few minutes later, walks back over to where we are, gets another blast of like little energy, dissipates, you know, within like 5 or 10 seconds. Very strange. Normally when it comes, it tends to hang around for a few minutes, you know, or at least a minute or so, something like this, as Don begins to work. This one, 10 seconds, disappears. 10 seconds, disappears. Don does a couple of recordings, struggling to really pick too much up. There is some interesting, I guess, vocal responses trying to come through, but, you know, we're deep underground, down a cliff. But anyway, at some point, you know, we're kind of thinking, you know, where's this going? What's going on? All of a sudden, Don goes, I've just seen something in the corner of the room. I've just seen like a little sparkling light. So he races over towards it. And the moment he goes over there, wham, hit by another sort of bout of energy again. He then makes a recording. And Becky, his spirit friend, comes through and says, you're in the right place. And Don's like, well, what? Why? He then goes on to try and ascertain whether or not the person that he's got with him is a male or a female. Seems to come back that it's going to be, you know, it's a female. He's then really sort of struggling, going, you know, what is this? You know, what's supposed to be going on right now? And he then gets a recording that says something along the lines of against the wall, or up against the wall, or something like this. And Don's like, what? And then Becky comes through and says, to the right. And we're like, what? Well, anyway, lo and behold, Barry Fitzgerald is about 30 feet away, chuckling to himself. It turns out, as Barry tells us when we leave, is that this place is supposed to be a doorway to the other side of some sort. And we were racing to get there for dusk, because this is when the door becomes active. So as we arrive there for dusk, and we get inside, we start doing these recordings. Every sort of couple of minutes, 10 seconds, wham of energy, dissipates again. Another 10 seconds of energy a few minutes later, making it really difficult for Don to work. But
I thought this was really going to be powerful when it came down, based on what Barry said before, but it wasn't. And I don't know, when I was here, I was thinking something, but I won't say anything if I'm thinking it, because I've got to be sure that it is significant rather than guess. Okay, and I was just over there, as you know, guys, and there's a little twinkly light here somewhere. You know, them little twinkly lights. So I thought, do I need to go over there? And then I got a burst of energy over there, which obviously Becky is a confirmation. So I've come over here, and Becky said that's the place. Now, that's three things that cannot be coincidental. And then on top of that, I've just got this rush of emotion, which is still here now, and upset. So, sorry? So I don't know at the minute, but Becky says this is the place. The light was twinkling there. I've had a rush of emotion, so this is obviously the place.
Chuckling to himself. It turns out, as Barry tells us when we leave, is that this place is supposed to be a doorway to the other side of some sort. And we were racing to get there for dusk, because this is when the door becomes active. So as we arrive there for dusk and we get inside, we start doing these recordings. Every sort of couple of minutes, 10 seconds, wham of energy, dissipates again. Another 10 seconds of energy a few minutes later, making it really difficult for Don to work. But to see him pick up exactly the same information, practically, that Barry picked up in previous investigations in that location, well, you can't call it chance. It's impossible to call it chance, because it just isn't chance. If that's the case, then Don really should be a lottery winner already, because nobody can do that, you know. To get one of these things right would be impressive enough. To get a series of them right, a number of tests, let's say, over the course of the first day, is amazing. One after the other, 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 and after the other. So he's picked up, again, almost identical information to what Barry's picked up. But again, struggling to understand it. Barry is remaining tight-lipped and not giving anything away. So as we make our way back up this cliff face, it's equally as treacherous on the way out as it was on the way in. Luckily, you know, we're alive. We make it out. As we're standing up at the top, you know, Barry's kind of recounting the story to Don, and Don's asking him, saying, because finally now he can tell us once we've completed whatever it is we're supposed to complete. And he begins to tell us that this is the idea, you know, it's in one of his books, and he says that this is some sort of portal, some sort of doorway, something like this. That, you know, this woman had come through it before, and there seems to be some sort of guards as well, some men who really don't like people being down there. So yeah, as he's recounting this story, then off camera, this voice that is heard audibly, I believe, on the camera, but all three, both Don, Steve and Barry instantly, standing closest to the hole, looks over his shoulder like, what? You know, Don's like, did you hear that? And Steve like, I think I've got that on camera. Well, lo and behold, we think we've got that on camera. So what it actually was a female voice shouting from the bottom of the cave, I guess. Bizarre. I can only imagine that, you know, if it's real that this portal, I guess this door to the other side opened, that maybe we'd left, and, you know, the only way of possibly contacting us or communicating with us was to actually be that audible. But, you know, seeing as we're like about 100 yards away at the other end of this sort of cliff face, standing outside this hole, the fact that 3 of the 4 people, I didn't hear it myself as I was holding the camera, but 3 of the 4 people picked up this female voice, and maybe even the cameras have picked it up as well, is quite amazing. We leave there anyway. We make our way to the last location, which appears to be a cairn on top of this hill. We go inside, and there are 3 sort of separate chambers. There's one central chamber, chamber to the left, chamber to the right, chamber at the back. And we begin to make some recordings, and Don's really struggling to pick anything up, doesn't pick an awful lot of energy up from this place. But, you know, we kind of make our way outside at Don's request so he can continue to work. And you can hear from outside the cairn, you know, I've got the video camera recording still as we're outside. I don't know how much audio will have been picked up by that, but you can hear Don picking up some interesting responses and being whammed by a series of energy. But really struggling to work out what it was.
It's not a tomb. It's not to do with dead people. I know what it's not, but I don't know what it is. Does that make sense? I know what it's not, but I don't know what it is at the moment.
The first thing he says is there seem to be some sort of devices placed in each one of the corners. He dismisses that out of hand like it's nothing. But as the recordings come through, it seems to be a place of gods, was one of the recordings that come through. A place of not necessarily worship, but the people wouldn't have been inside the cairn, they would have been outside the cairn. Also, you know, Don was getting this information that come through. He also believed that there was some sort of sequence, let's say, or some sort of I don't want to call it frequency because I know that's actually what Barry suggests that it is, that, you know, there's a certain resonance within these chambers, that, you know, that activates certain things, let's say. But, you know, but Don picks up something like this, some sort of pattern, I think he said, some sort of, something like this. But as he comes out, he kind of recounts his story, you know, to all intents and purposes, again, Barry's like absolutely spot on. These were actually aligned to the summer solstice, and I guess that people would stand outside and watch the sun rise and watch its way, make it round the inside of the cairn, for a number of different reasons, of course. But Don comes out and to camera, you know, starts talking about how these things are aligned to the stars, how they're particular reasons, you know, they're not necessarily burial places at all, they're more like, I guess, to mark the passage of something to do with the stars, is what he was saying. And to see somebody go in there, and okay, you could say the guy guessed, but he didn't.
This is a place of worship, but not from the inside. It's from the outside. People around the outside. Okay. The pattern is to do with the position of what this is. What have we got? It's not to do with dead people. Something to do with gods. Something to do with worship, or a place of worship, but people on the outside, not the inside. So I don't know why you go in there, because it's significant, but that's not the thing. And then we've got the position of it. Now, Barry said there's lots more of them. There's something about a pattern, I didn't know what that was, but I'm not a stupid person. Becky said, I still maintain Becky said Stonehenge, right? Now I'm making the correlation now between, if that's what she said, Stonehenge, right, is this Stonehenge is to do with position. This is to do with position. There's a link between, I don't know if it's the positions of the other 27 or whatever, but I've never been to Stonehenge, but there's not 27 pillars. This is, if it's a place of worship, something to do with the gods, effectively. It's got to be something to do with, like Stonehenge is like the position of Stonehenge. In fact, that's exactly what it is. It's to do with position. Not just this, but it makes the pattern. Now, with everything considered, and this is me putting all the bits together, it's got to be something to do with the positioning, like with stars, like Stonehenges. Then the next question is the people. We're talking 6,000 years. How many different types of people have we had in 6,000 years? I can't make that determination, and I can't get any answers in there. So I might have to let that go. I could guess, but you know what? That is not the point. Even if I guessed and you said, yeah, that's right, it doesn't mean anything, because it's a guess. And at the end of the day, this is about obtaining information from places we know nothing about. Correct? So therefore, what value would there be in a guess?
That's the truth. And if you did guess, like I say, why isn't the guy a lottery winner? Because I would be putting my efforts into making serious cash. Really, like that. To go and do one of those things over the course of the day would have been impressive, but to do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those things, one after the other, with that level of accuracy and that level of, accuracy was outstanding. And the level of detail as well was outstanding. One of them you could call fluke. Two of them you could call chance. Three of them you could call extremely lucky. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, you better start changing your belief structure, because it just doesn't fit the paradigm. It really doesn't. Of course, that concludes day one, so, you know, I guess we'll come back tomorrow, day two. We're going to be going to some more interesting locations. I'm expecting it is going to be epically beautiful, just like all of today has. It looks, hopefully, like we're going to have some decent weather as well. So stay tuned, because the Phenomena Project are going to bring you some incredibly interesting stuff over the course of this silent investigation. And of course, in the next year as well. Check it.
So what do you think? What Don was just saying was quite extreme.
Yeah, massively extreme. And to be honest, before he'd even started saying it, Steve, it changed when the light went
told you
down.
this place. I knew this place was going to change.
Yeah, it changed when
I
the
can
light
feel
went
it.
down. It's dark, it's ominous.
It's
foreboding.
there and it's listening.
Yeah. Well,
I know. Yeah, I can feel this just edging. You know what I mean? Just on the edge, watching. Or it's very oppressive. This place.
it is very oppressive. It's easy to say the eyes have walls because they do.
You do feel like you're being watched, don't you? You're drawn to certain
For
areas.
some reason, people drawn over the walls.
I've come across over the years a handful of investigations where it actually has involved poltergeist phenomenon. It's a bit like tasting a lemon. You know, you never forget that taste.
Ian, what's your impression now of Ireland and the wonderful landscape and what can hide in it?
It's easy to think when you come to a place like this that myths and legends are just myths and legends. Exactly that. You know, stories that are told over a period of time. But when you come to a place like this and you begin to see what Don's doing, you begin to see the things that I guess.
I tell you, you've just changed my whole view in regarding myths and legends.
Yeah.